I purposely spoiled the end of a 14-book novel series because of rudeness. I'm a huge fan of a fantasy series called The Ashwood Cycle. 14 books, over 9,000 pages total, more than 2,000 named characters across the whole saga. I've read the entire thing twice. So when I saw a post on the subreddit r.ashwoodcycle asking people to share their favorite minor characters, I jumped in. I typed out a comment about a character named Ossian Rook. He's a blacksmith's apprentice who shows up for maybe 2 pages in book 9. I didn't say what he does. I didn't say if he lives or dies. I just said his name, and that I liked how his one scene was written. That was the whole comment. 20 minutes later, I got a reply from a guy with the username TomeHunter88. He said, and I quote, "Wow, thanks for spoiling a name I didn't know yet. Real classy." I figured he was joking, so I replied with a laughing emoji, and said it's just a name, it's not a spoiler. He did not think that was funny. He came back hard, said I was the kind of person who ruins books for everyone, said I clearly had no reading comprehension if I thought dropping a name wasn't a spoiler, called me an idiot, then said something about how people like me shouldn't be allowed in fan spaces. I checked his profile out of curiosity. His account was 3 months old. His post history showed he was still working through book 4. I tried to explain it to him like a normal person. I told him there are over 2,000 named characters in this series. Knowing one name means nothing without context. He didn't care. He kept going, called me slow, said I was probably the type who needed the movie version because I can't follow a real book. That one got under my skin more than I want to admit. I sat there staring at my phone for a solid minute. It was a Tuesday night, around 9, and I was lying in bed with my laptop propped on my knees, half watching TV in the background. I could have just blocked him. That would have been the easy move. Instead, I opened his profile again and clicked message. I want to be clear, I didn't post anything in the subreddit itself. The sub has a strict no spoiler rule, and I wasn't about to break it and ruin the story for people who actually deserve to enjoy it. But a private DM isn't a public post. Those are different things, and I made sure of that before I typed a single word. I told him I was sorry he felt disrespected, and that I hoped this made up for it. Then I laid out the entire ending of book 14, who dies at the Black Bridge, and why she chooses to stay behind. How the twins turn out to be the same soul split in half back in book 2, something almost nobody catches until the final chapters. How the Ashborn Emperor gets defeated, not in battle, but by the last living dragon giving up its own name to erase his from existence. I explained what that meant for the magic system, and why it was set up all the way back in book 1. I kept going. I told him what happens in the epilogue, who ends up ruling the Ashwood throne, who gets married, who dies quietly of old age 40 years later, in a single paragraph that made half the fandom cry. I even threw in a few fan theories about the world after the story ends, the ones about the second bloodline surviving in the Eastern Territories, since he clearly hadn't gotten anywhere near book 11 where that gets teased. I hit send and set my phone face down on the nightstand. My heart was going a little fast, not gonna lie. Then I picked it back up because I couldn't help myself. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then nothing for almost 10 minutes. When his reply finally came through, it was just one line. Why would you do that? I told him the truth. I said he called me an idiot for sharing a name that means nothing on its own, so I decided to show him what an actual spoiler looks like. I said if he'd known even a fraction of what I just told him beforehand, he would understand exactly why a name alone was never a spoiler in the first place. He sent back a wall of angry texts, said I ruined months of reading for him, said this was pathetic and childish and that he was reporting me to the mods. I didn't respond to any of it. I just watched the read receipts and waited. He never did report me, at least nothing ever came of it, since technically I didn't break a single sub-rule. His account went quiet on the Ashwood threads after that night. No more comments, no more posts about which house he was rooting for, nothing, just silence, like the whole series had been switched off for him. I still see his username pop up sometimes on completely unrelated subreddits, arguing with strangers about something else entirely. Every time I do, I think about how close he came to a genuinely great ending, one he'll never get to experience the way it was meant to be experienced. And every time I think about it,